Hello and welcome to another one of D's ADD videos. We're going to look at covariance example, just quick run through the steps again. Depending on whether we're doing the population or we're doing the sample, these are the only two differences in the formula. Either way, you have to calculate both deviations and then divide or add them up and then divide. So the steps for doing that, you're going to find the means for both. Find the deviations. They should roughly equal to 0. Multiply the deviations, add them up, right? Multiply, then add them, and then divide by either n minus 1 if it's a SXY you're looking for, the sample, or divide by n if you're looking for sigma XY. So let's look at these data points right there. I've taken the liberty of graphing them already. Let's zoom in a little bit. So if you were to do a scatter plot, just basically plot the x value and the corresponding y value, this is roughly the trend of data points that you would see. And you should hopefully tell that there's a pretty strong linear relationship here. So there should be a positive covariance because the trend is going up. Okay, so had it been up downhill trend, it would have been a negative covariance, but I expect a positive covariance for that. All right, let's remove that line. Oops. All right, so what are the steps? Well, I got to come in and I got to first add up my data points. And when I add them up, I should get 37. Do that on your calculator to verify. I am human, I do make mistakes. And that's your sum of your x's. And it started at 1, and there's 7 data points. So you would look at that. And then to get the mean, you take that sum. So to get x bar, you take the sum. And you divide it by n. In this case, n is, there are 7 data points. If you were to sum these up, you'd see them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data points, right? So when you do that, you get 37 over 7 is equal to 4.43. So that's your x bar right there. All right. So then you do the deviations in which you take each one of these data points and you subtract that 4.43 that you just calculated. And when you do that, you should get these numbers here. So hopefully you've set up this table already. I haven't watched the concept video. So if you plug in, first one is going to give you a negative 3.43, negative 2.43, negative 1.43, negative 0.43, 0.57, 2.57, and 4.57. And when you do that deviation sum, you should have gotten 0. You get 0.01, which is pretty close. Close enough for good mark. All right, so here you find the deviations in y much in the same way. So you got to find the y bar. Let's see, let's find a spot to do that. Y bar is going to be the summation of I from 1 to 7 of each y value over the total number, which is still 7. So the summation of y, if you add these together, it gives you 84 divided by 7 gives you 11.57. Actually, let's do that calculation up here. So the summation was 84. And so that would be your y bar. And doing the same thing that we did for x, find the deviations of the y. When you do that, you should get these numbers. Oops, 6.43. And when you add the deviation of y, you should get 0. I think you get 0.1 if I'm not mistaken on this one, which is still close enough. Alright, these are just random data points I picked. And then when you do the product of the two deviation columns, that's this column times this column, you should get these numbers here. 22.54. Go ahead and work through this. Make sure you understand what's going on. Don't just watch this video. See that you can get the same numbers I did. If you don't, try to figure out where you made a mistake. And maybe you caught one of my mistakes, but if not, you could always ask the tutor and figure out why you're not getting the same numbers. Or if indeed you did catch one mistake. And when you add these up here, you find out that that sum total is, this is the summation of 115.39. We're almost there. So then to get the covariance, depends if we're talking about the population or the sample. So for the population, the denominator is n. If you remember from up here, where are we? The very beginning. Denominator is n, and then n minus 1. That's the only difference. I guess I'll do the general formulas for you guys. So when you plug in, it's either going to be 115.39. If this is all the data points you have, is these 7 data points. That's your entire population. When you do that, you get 16.48. Apparently somebody's doing something outside. I apologize. Or if it's for a subsample of a larger population, it comes out 115.39 divided by 6, which is 19.23. Either way, you find your covariances that way. All right. So let's recap. First thing you want to do is set up this table in which you have these columns in green on an asterisk thing. Why didn't it get underlined? Why I got left out. And then what you want to do is you want to go through, you want to find the means of both x and y. There's the x mean. Let's stick with the same color, not that it matters. We're just kind of recapping here. And we did the mean of the y's. And after you find the means, you can find the two deviations and then add them up to get 0, hopefully, for both deviations, or pretty close to it. Then you do the product of the two deviations, and then you add all those up, and then you take that and either divide by n if it's the entire population, or n minus 1 if it's the sample.